Judiciary Committee this Friday morning, January 30th. So we'll start. There are two things I want to get to before we have some more testimony from Judge Zone starting at 11 o'clock and Kim McManus on the animal cruelty bill. But H626, I think, is close to ready to vote, but we can figure that out once we have a discussion about what I understand is kind of the last issue. One of the issues that was kicking around, I think I mentioned it yesterday, was whether to have without consent in the one section. I'm trying to find what the heck that was. But having discussed this with Michelle and having read the Van Buren case, it's to leave it in. And so we will just leave that in. Right? Isn't that where we landed?
I think it's where we landed. I think the issue, I think everybody had come around to agreeing that it was important to leave it in existing 2606 because that statute had already been upheld as constitutional under strict scrutiny. One of the specific things being that it was narrowly tailored, right, to meet a compelling governmental interest, and so no sense like tipping the Jenga tower on that one, right? Okay, it's I think worth it. And on the other issue was the using the without consent on the threatening to disclose. I think there's more an argument that you could pull it out of there because the fact that someone's threatening to disclose something is, it's kind of implied in a sense that it's against the victim's wishes. But it doesn't hurt to have it in there, and it doesn't really create any kind of additional burden for the prosecution because you have the victim who says, I said, I don't want those pictures on the internet, so it doesn't really create something that's harder for the prosecution. So I think there's no harm in leaving it in there. I know, but
So that was one issue. The other was the penalty, and if folks are looking at draft 3.2, which should be on your desk. It's 626, H626. And at the bottom of page 8, it's a penalty impression. And we've been kicking around whether that should be a 3-year felony or a 2-year misdemeanor. Personally, I was at one point towards 73-year felony because of the harm. And then further discussions just offline with Kim McManus and just thinking about proportionality. If we wanted our extortion part of the bill to have a penalty that's equivalent to regular extortion, that's a 3-year felony, and that kind of made sense that this is less harm. It's not as bad or her culpable behavior, so a misdemeanor kind of made sense. But then I wanted to kind of look for comparable laws that are misdemeanors in our statute. I got a list, and they're bad, but they don't seem as harmful or as bad as what we're dealing with here. So, for instance, possession of child sexual materials that show nudity but not sexual conduct, bad. That's 13 VSA 2825, and I can post this. That's a 2-year misdemeanor. Prohibited conduct, which is kind of a catch-all, is a 2-year misdemeanor for second or subsequent offenses. That's really when one pleads down mainly from lewd and lascivious. Sexual exploitation of a minor, typically used when the victim is at least 16 years of age, which is the age of consent. That has a variety of penalties depending on the elements of the offense, but it has a 2-year penalty for luring when perpetrator abuses position of power. And then there's those are all misdemeanors. Yeah, those are all misdemeanors. 1-year misdemeanor, all of the upset. We can someday look and see if those. Right. So, but it's all kind of proportional to what the other penalties are. So those don't. It's hard. This is kind of the judgments we're making. Is the offense that we're talking about here with the knowingly disclosing a visual image that somebody who's nude or engaged in sexual conduct, is that equivalent to these others, or is that is our judgment that that's worse and should have a higher penalty. A 3-year felony is what I would suggest. If we do that, I think we need to have the sextortion for proportional penalties. Should be a 5-year felony. So that's kind of where I am, and I would love to hear people's input of what we should do with that particular. We should, yeah.
If it was up to me, we would raise all of them. I mean, all the ones you listed, it's absolutely ridiculous that those are misdemeanors. But I also get the proportionality piece. And unless we're going to be changing the others, I guess it doesn't necessarily make sense to change it for this one.
And I hope to get back to I hope to get back to what we did a few years ago when we made a run at this. And even then, when we were trying to have those redo the whole criminal code, and we looked at the sex crimes. And actually, at that point, we didn't change any of those because of testimony from the network and others, because they were very leery about that. But I think that's worth another.
And for what reason?
I don't recall. I mean, this was a few years ago, but I just remember that we left it because there wasn't a big push to change all the those penalties. Other viewpoints of where we are with this? Yeah,
that's all right. So what we didn't do a few years ago, that was in a big picture because we were looking at everything. Right. And maybe we can just keep it narrow to the, because I 100% agree that with Alicia that this should be a 3-year penalty or 3-year felony. But for consistency's sake, I think it is on the same level as, maybe one is a little higher level, a little lower level, but I think it's on the same level as the other ones, and it's certainly not going to stop me from supporting the bill. But it is something that I think we really need to look at. Those misdemeanor, I was gonna say crimes, but misdemeanors that you read to me are pretty egregious. I don't remember working on it back then. I know I did.
Right.
But
Those penalties have been there for
a long time.
Yeah.
most of them. I mean, it depends, but yeah.
Right.
So should we stick with this because of the consistency and make a point of, we can actually start looking at the issue post crossover, depending on how much we get from the Senate, or we can even put in our first bill request for next year. That will be an effort to, and this will give us a lot of time with the network and others in the off session to kind of figure out where to go with it.
That's kind of what I was thinking is next year. I mean, not that we couldn't start to work on it, but it's not going to pass this year.
Right.
And anything that we do, any witnesses that we bring in, any discussions we have, we're just going to repeat it.
True. That's true as well. We can as a placeholder have a lot to already do it.
Yeah, you may, and I'm happy, gotta have something to do this summer.
Draft number one.
I don't want to.
For next year, for next plan.
I don't know that, but I will look, but usually you're in the top 5, Mark, every year with the requests. And it's something that, I can certainly discuss with the network and others around kind of scope of some things, looking at the penalties. Yeah.
Anything else on this, or it sounds like I'm hearing stick with what we have here right now, which is a misdemeanor here, 3-year felony for the sextortion. But with the other enhancements that we have as well.
I guess I'm trying to, I think reviewing penalties in the future with a sort of an understanding or taking into account the forever nature of some of these things now, keeping up with technology, we can't, but trying our best makes a lot of sense. And I'm seeing that, if I'm reading this correctly and all the different subsections and stuff, the the penalty for creating, a recording without a person's consent, the first offense is 2 years, $1,000.
And then disclosing it though is.
And disclosing it is 5. So we're like, it's almost like we're going in the middle for disclosure of, this was, supposed to tackle disclosure of an image that might have been made with consent, but the disclosure is non-consensual.
Yeah, it captures that, correct. But it could also capture if the prosecution just doesn't think they can prove that it was made without consent, it gives them a lesser and something with one less element.
Yeah.
They have to prove. So,
Yeah.
a lesser included offense probably is how that would be.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else with this? Are folks ready to vote on this one? Are we all good? All right, I'll take a motion to approve. Oh, yeah, sorry. Did somebody?
Just one other concern or like question I had that
Yep.
it's just the concern is trusting that the current system will appropriately work with juveniles who might offend. Because I know it came up first, briefly, it's the conversation of possibly a different set of penalties for someone under 18, but so I hear that we're not going that route, and I'm just registering some concern.
I mean, I could register why I didn't want to go to that route again.
I understand. We have our system of family court and confidential proceedings and,
Right.
So yeah, I get that.
So I will take a motion to approve draft number 3.2 of H626 dated today or dated yesterday, 3:57 p.m. It's a strike all amendment.
So,
Is there a second? Any further discussion? I think it's a good bill. It's good. Thank you, everybody, for the work on this.
I'm grateful. Yeah, I'm really grateful to the committee for taking this up and taking it so seriously. And it really was it's one of those bills that was driven by a story of, started with the story of a Vermonter who experienced a substantial harm and had no real recourse, no clear path to justice. And so that's a pretty important part of what we do on this committee, I think. So I'm really grateful that we were able to move this bill. And as far as the sextortion piece, that was my interest in tackling this came from the broader scope of work that I'm engaged with on online harms, and hearing from our witnesses that it's a very real problem here in Vermont. Just makes it all the more relevant. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you both to Angela and Alicia for shepherding this bill and getting it in front of us as well. So clerk could call the roll.
Arsenal,
Yes.
Dolan,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Roseland, yes. Harvey,
Yes.
Malloy,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yeah.
Rachelson,
Yes.
Christie, absent. Verdict,
Yes.
Malone,
Yes.
10-0-1.
And I understand Alicia and Angela are going to co-report. Oh. Excellent.
Just want to note, so this is a clean draft. It was edited yesterday, so it can go to the clerk, but you don't need to wait for anything else from me. And please reach out if I can be of any help as you prepare for them.
Excellent. All right. So we'll turn to H5. I don't know if there's a lot more to say in that. I said a lot and we kind of got delayed a little bit. The data.
We got a quick copy of it every day. Oh, yeah. You had brought it up yesterday.
So my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is this is a bill as introduced, plus we have on our desk a an amendment.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So just to get that out of the way, I will take a motion to find favorable the amendment, which is on your desk, draft number 1.1, and it changes the effective date to July 1st, 2026, instead of July 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second, just do a strong on this. All those in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. So I'll take, what's that? I'll take a motion to then pass H5 as amended. And it's the bill as introduced as amended by the amendment we just had on the effective date. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just that Jen Pullman had texted me that she wanted to be here, but she's a little bit under the weather, but she is tuning in.
Oh.
She's watching. All right, so Rosa. All right, well, hello again. I hope you feel better this weekend. The clerk can call the roll.
Arsenal,
Yes,
Dolan,
yes,
Goodnow,
Yes.
Bosley, yes. Harvey,
Yes.
Malay,
yes,
Oliver. Yes. Christensen,
yes.
Christie absent, Burdick. Yes. Long,
Yes.
and 0-1.
Stan Karen is going to take with your report, is that correct? Unless somebody else is dying to.
Are you taking it away from me now?
You
What did you
didn't
do?
look happy when you just looked at me. It was like, yeah, I'll take it, but you didn't try. You didn't try. So I think sure. All right, so we'll come back, we'll go offline and come back at 11 because we don't have our